Welcome to the Teaching You to Fish podcast, financial literacy for the rest of us. My name is Carl Fish, and I'm the host of this podcast. This is episode 18, Creating Your Personal Financial Action Plan. A quick programming note. This episode is the conclusion to this podcast series. It is the last planned episode, although I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some bonus episodes in the future on particular topics if something seems worth adding. As I stated in episode 1, the goal of this series was to provide you with the knowledge and the tools to make better financial decisions in order to live your good life, however you define that. I subtitled the series Financial Literacy for the Rest of Us, and my hope is that these 18 episodes have done that. To be sure, these episodes don't cover everything, but taken as a whole, they probably cover 90% of what most people need to know to make good financial decisions. If you have worked your way through the entire series, taken some time to reflect along the way, and are willing to take steps to implement what you've learned, then you are well on your way. But that last one, being willing to take steps to implement what you've learned, is critical. It's really easy for many of us to read, watch, listen to stuff, take it in, and generally enjoy it, but then not actually take any meaningful action. This episode is designed to make sure you follow through. We'll start by revisiting an exercise from episode 1, your personal financial philosophy statement. I suggested in episode 1 that you write your current ideas about finances and how they relate to what you value in life, living your good life. Whether you did that or not then, I'm going to ask you to write that now. This could be a sentence or two, or a paragraph, or might be much longer than that. Whatever works for you, as long as it does a good job of laying out what you believe about finances and how they relate to what you value in life. This might be difficult, but give it your best shot. Your goal is to delineate how you want to live your life financially in order to live the good life as you define it. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just try to encapsulate your current thinking. Next up is completing a financial inventory. This will take some time, so I don't suggest you complete it in the middle of this podcast, but sometime after finishing this episode. But I'm going to show it to you now and briefly discuss the idea behind it. Open this Google spreadsheet by typing in the link or clicking on the link in the slides. It will ask you to make a copy so that you have an editable version. Click Make a Copy. Creating a financial inventory and keeping it up to date is very important. First, the process of creating it is helpful in and of itself. Gathering and organizing all of your financial information forces you to get your head around your entire financial situation, and periodically updating it makes you revisit and revise it. Second, and just as importantly, it will serve as a resource to your loved ones if something happens to you. Ideally, of course, both partners in a relationship are fully up to speed on their entire financial situation. But the reality is that in many relationships, one partner primarily handles the finances. And that's okay. But it's also critical that the less involved, financially, partner can quickly get up to speed if the other one is incapacitated or dies. A financial inventory is hugely helpful in those situations. This spreadsheet has multiple tabs, with the first tab being a table of contents with links to all the other tabs. The first tab also has placeholders where you can link to your copy of all of the other spreadsheets we have created in this class, if you did those activities. Each tab focuses on one particular aspect of your financial inventory. While it's reasonably comprehensive, there definitely could be additional items you want to add. If so, that's easy enough to do by just creating a new tab or tabs for these additional items. Don't feel limited by what I've suggested. Add to it or modify as necessary. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through the spreadsheet, but do want to take a minute to describe the layout. For example, if you go to the first tab, Personal and Family Information, you will see a list of items that you probably want to have for each person in the family. Again, you may want to add additional items to this list. Most of the items are pretty straightforward, but for some of the items, you can decide what to put. For example, next to the Will Trust item, it could be as simple as a yes or no, or you could add a link to the actual will or trust document. At the bottom of each sheet, you'll see a spot for Narrative, which is where you would write anything that is helpful for understanding this particular tab. For some tabs, you may not need to write anything here, but for many tabs, this is very important, as it's a place where you can describe your thinking around the decisions you've already made, as well as your plans for decisions you're going to make in the future. This can be especially important for the tabs that have account information. Often when one partner is the primary financial decision maker, they have a strategy and a plan going forward, and having that in writing should something happen to that partner can be incredibly helpful. You will also see a link back to the table of contents at the bottom of each sheet, just to make it easy to get back. You can, of course, click directly on any tab to get directly to that tab. As you work your way through and complete each tab, think carefully about the information you want to include. It's natural to want to just include the basics, but keep in mind that your less involved loved ones don't know what's in your head. So if you're going to err on the side of more detail. A quick note. Everyone has to think carefully about the security of this information and how much you want to include on the spreadsheet. Some folks may not want to include all the information because they worry about getting into the wrong hands. There are a variety of ways to handle this, including password protecting the document itself, downloading it and opening it in local software like Microsoft Excel or Apple Numbers, so it's not available in the cloud, or being somewhat cryptic when listing certain information. For example, for passwords, you might indicate enough that your loved ones can figure out the password without listing the entire password. You could even go so far as printing out the completed spreadsheet, then deleting the electronic copy and putting the printed out copy somewhere safe. If there is one primary financial decision maker in the family, then once this is complete, you should schedule a discussion with at least your partner, and possibly also your children if they are old enough to understand. It's critical to periodically have this family discussion to keep everyone informed. And while younger children won't be interested or understand, once they are old enough to understand, I think it's really important to include them if at all possible. Both because they are part of the family and should understand the big picture, but also because it's really important for their financial education as they prepare to go out on their own. I would highly recommend setting at least a yearly calendar reminder to both review the inventory and update it if necessary, and then have a yearly family discussion. Again, my suggestion is to not complete this right this minute, as it will likely take several hours or more, but to definitely start working on it after you finish this episode. In addition to the financial inventory, I'm now going to suggest you complete a personal financial action plan. This is really important because if you don't make a plan with concrete steps and a timeline, it is very likely you won't put your newfound knowledge to work and make the financial decisions necessary to live your best life. Again, this is something you're going to need to work on after this episode, but I'll show it to you now. Open this Google spreadsheet by typing in the link or clicking on the link in the slides. It will ask you to make a copy so that you have an editable version. Click Make a Copy. At the top of this spreadsheet is a place to copy and paste your personal financial philosophy statement. This is important to include here as it is the motivating philosophy behind all of these decisions. Then down below are spaces to describe each action you're going to take, along with a due date and then a checkbox you can click once you've completed the action. To the far right is a space for notes, which can be used in a variety of ways. This could include listing intermediate steps you've taken along the way, even if you haven't completed the entire action. Or it could be notes to yourself after you've completed the action. Or it could be something completely different. Try to use it in a way that works for you. I divide these actions into two categories. A learn category for things you need to learn more about before taking action, and then a do category for financial moves you're going to make. You may or may not need to use the learn category, but some people find this structure helpful. For both categories, it's critical that you put a due date, even if it's a more general due date like fall of 2025. Without those dates, it's easy to let things slide and not take any action. Use the dates to hold yourself accountable. Once you've created your plan, then add a link to it to your financial inventory, and be sure to include it as part of your family discussion. Don't feel like you have to do everything everywhere all at once. Take it slow and work through your action plan, and even add to it over time. You can, of course, refer back to any of the episodes in this series, perhaps focusing on a single topic or subtopic that you want to revisit. This can be really helpful if you ever felt overwhelmed while listening to one episode right after another. Hopefully, this podcast series has given you the knowledge and the tools to make better financial decisions that will help you live your good life. Here's a link to some additional resources to continue your learning if you so desire. It will ask you to make a copy. Click Make a Copy. This is by no means a comprehensive list, but is a great starter pack if you'd like to go further and deeper than this podcast series. I really, really, really encourage you to complete all of these activities: the personal financial philosophy statement, the financial inventory, the personal financial action plan, and then learning more by exploring further resources that catch your eye. Future you will thank you. In addition to these assignments, if you are taking notes throughout this series, take the time to write a few paragraphs or more reflection, not only on this episode, but the series in general. If you're comfortable sharing your reflection, there are several ways to do that. If you're watching or listening to this on Spotify or YouTube, then you can leave your thoughts and/or your feedback or questions in the comments. You can also always reach out to me directly on social media or via email. I'm Carl Fish on Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, or you can email me directly at carlfish@gmail.com. Again, this is the last scheduled episode in this series, although I may occasionally come up with some new episodes to add if I think of something worthwhile. I hope you found this series helpful, and if you have, it would be great if you could reach out and let me know that. Thank you for watching and listening.